Update Thursday. Coming up Thursday after Labor Day, we are now officially in the fall general election campaign season, and we are. But more importantly than an election, Kelton, is Monday night. We have the roast. Every year, the night before veto session, we do a roast. This time, it is of the incoming Speaker of the House, Mr. Kansas City himself, John Patterson. Welcome in to This Week in Missouri Politics Midweek Update. Thank you for the time.
Hi, Scott. Glad to be with you.
Let's obviously we'll get yes I got a text already. We will get to the clue board, I promise you. But first, let's talk about the roast. Monday night, we're going to roast you for a good cause. It is going to be great. First of all, thank you so much for making yourself available and letting us have some fun.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it and looking forward to it. And I think it'll be for a good cause. Hopefully, we raise a lot of money.
Well, first, let's start off with the cause you picked. Tell folks about the charity you've selected and why.
Well, the Rape Crisis Center of Jefferson City helps women that have been abused, and so it's a great cause. It's something that we need to donate money to. They do a great job. Tricia Workman introduced me to them, and so anytime I do anything in Jeff City that is about charity, I like to give it to them, and so I think it'll be good. And let's try to set a record in terms of the dollar amount that we raise.
Absolutely. We will have QR codes. If you can't be there Monday night, we'll have them on our social media website. It'll be tagged and everything. So you can just go go make a contribution right to a very good charity. We'll be donating a portion of all the proceeds is going to go to that. Then hopefully the folks that roast will be able to wrangle the money out of them, and hopefully folks that come. If you come and you enjoy the jokes, and you enjoy dinner, well, Los Margaritas from Columbia will be catering it. We'll have Anheuser-Busch products, obviously, because this is a German-owned business. But we'll have a full bar. If you have a good time, obviously, you always get a tip our man Jimmy. But after that, give to the Rape Crisis Center. Let's talk about the people that are roasting. And the way it works, I think everybody's kind of familiar with the roast, and especially this one. But if you're not, we'll get up and we'll welcome everyone. We're going to honor a state employee. Kind of in the middle, but then we're going to go. I think Cindy O'Laughlin starts because she'll want to get to bed early, right? So she's got to go first. Plus, even if she wasn't scheduled to go first, she would just get up and go first anyway. So really, might as well just let her go first and act like it was our idea. I think she'll be so funny, and if she's not funny, it'll be so unfunny that it'll be more hilarious than if she was being funny. Cindy
Yeah,
has the
I can't
ability
wait
just to
to
be
hear what
funny.
she has to say. She can actually be very,
Oh yeah.
very funny. So
And she's
it'll be good.
like a roast is the perfect way for her because most of her jokes are mean, which is why I like Cindy so much.
Yeah,
But it fits perfectly for a roast for her to come out and break balls.
yeah, with that grandma energy, she does it well.
Uh, then let's we have Wiley Price coming back. What a hilarious thing. I
Yeah,
mean, and followed by Chad Perkins. So you
yeah,
have a black guy that got in trouble and then a cop that got in trouble for the same stuff back to back. There's lots of good comedy there.
yeah,
Um, then Quentin Lucas, that charisma. Quentin can even if it's not funny, just listen to Quentin talk will be kind
yeah.
of interesting because he's just so smooth. And then the person I think might steal the show, Mary Elizabeth Coleman. I think she might come in and steal the whole damn thing.
Yeah, she can always bring the heat. She's a gamer. The only one I'm really worried about is Wiley.
Well,
I have no idea what Wiley's going to have.
and I like it that he has nothing to lose
That's
and
right.
lots of people to settle scores with. So I
Yeah,
have a high expectation for Wiley. But I also think, I mean, it's so nice of Mary Liz to drive all the way over from the Central West End to come to this event. I think Mary Elizabeth is the entire time I've known her, she's a heat magnet. Like whatever she does gets more attention than it probably deserves, and anything that happens, she gets more credit and more blame. Everything she does is just hot. People are just drawn to it, good or bad.
yeah,
That's going to be a great. But I also think it's her turn to talk, I think she'll be funny.
I do too. Yeah, I think she's going to be great. She's a gamer.
We will have a good time, and plus, by the time you talk, everybody will be pretty liquored up, so that'll help.
Yeah, hopefully. And then
I've had a couple jokes I've been thinking
I have
about.
some zingers of my own, I think.
I mean, imagine being Dirk Deaton, right?
Yeah.
And you work hard and you become the house budget chair, and you're the man that they go to for all the math. You run all the numbers. You're sitting in leadership meetings, and people usually come to you and say, what about statistics is going to work out? And the one time you get to be budget chair, the speaker's an Asian. Nobody's going to give a shit what he thinks about math or numbers or the budget. They're always going to look at you the whole time, right? I mean, poor guy kind of robbing his glory. So, no, we're going to have a good time Monday night, 6 o'clock, Soybean Association program. We usually do about an hour of a cocktail hour, maybe 45 minutes. And then the program, I think it'll be an hour, if I had to guess. Usually I try to keep it to an hour. Sometimes this show is usually supposed to be 20 minutes, and it runs over too. But an hour is about right. I always tell folks, 5 to 7 minutes. Nobody's really funny after 8 minutes. So I think it'll move along well. We're going to honor our 30 under 30 folks. That's going to be nice.
Okay, great.
I've got a few folks coming up to help read and honor the people that have won it in the past. So that'll be kind of a neat thing. Then we're going to honor a long time, well, not a long time, but honor a state employee that's gave a lot to the state of Missouri. I think that'll be kind of a nice thing. So it'll be fun Monday night. Also, I don't know if you heard this. I was shocked myself. I've heard of the DEI. I've heard your caucus say they don't like it. I've heard the governor say we're not doing it. Moon Choi at Mizzou said we're not doing it. But I did hear, unfortunately, pretty good news tip that one of the department directors was at a DEI conference on June 5th. So before we tell the governor, before we cause trouble, I thought what we would do is investigate this allegation. So what I've done, John, have you ever played Clue?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a suspect, such as Colonel Mustard, Professor Plum. You have a weapon, in this case DEI, and in a room in Clue, but in this case it's a department. So I and Kelton and I have went to work and done our detective job, and we've been crossing off through Sunshine Request who was where June 5th. And so we're down to just 1, 2, 3. We're down to just 6 people. So I can tell you today, without a doubt, that Paula Nicholson was not at a DEI conference on June 5th. That would be Paula Nicholson would be the Department of Health and Senior Services. And I can tell you, without a doubt, I can confirm that Michelle Hadaway at Economic Development was not at a DEI conference. So, Mr. Speaker, that leaves only 4 departments left to confirm they were not at the DEI conference. Clora Myers at Insurance, Valerie Hoon at Mental Health, Levon Compton at the National Guard, and Drew Bunton at the Department of Natural Resources. So what I've done, because we don't want to make a false allegation, right? This is important stuff. If a department is just totally flipping the governor off, just saying, I'll do what the hell I want. Who the hell are you? I don't take orders from the governor. I do my own thing. If someone really is doing that, we've narrowed it down to 4 now, Kelton. So I think what we'll do, I'm going to send you the letter of confirmation so all of your members will know. Now, what you do about it, that's not for me to say, right? I mean, if, let's just say Don Mayhew thinks DEI is great, then that's for him to decide. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I do think you might hear a little bit about this on the floor Wednesday. Yeah, if we're right. I could be wrong. So Tuesday at high noon, Kelton, we're going to come back here on Monday, right? We're going to try to narrow it down to 2. And then at high noon on Tuesday, we're going to unveil which department director, if any, was at a DEI conference. We'll provide, obviously, picture evidence at the DEI conference. And then what people do with that information, I guess that's why they pay you all the big bucks.
Yeah. I guess we'll see what Donnie has to say. I mean,
that is true in every aspect. We will always see what Don has to say because he will not keep it to himself. He will tell you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was fun. I had lunch with Don yesterday, and he was talking about how the differences in in your personalities, but how you've become friends, and how it's one of the pleasures of being in the legislature that you get to meet people that have different ways of thinking from all over the state, and how you really connect with certain folks and you build friendships that you probably have forever, you know?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best part. I love Donnie. People like Mike Stevens. I'll miss
Oh.
Mike. He and I are really good friends. Yeah, I'll miss a lot of people. So.
So let's talk a little politics, but first I want to thank the folks up in the great Northwest at United Fiber for sponsoring this week in Missouri Politics Midweek Update. And if you were going to bring someone to town, like you're bringing the wife over for the governor's ball, right? Which I heard is going to be in the summer this year. They're going to move that back to September and have the actual big ball in September, not in January. I'm more of a traditionalist, but where would you put your wife up if you were going to bring the family here? Where would you have them stay?
Uh, Probably at that Marriott.
Yeah, there's no doubt. The Courtyard by Marriott.
Yeah.
Look, if you want to be like urban issues chair, you put your family up at some other skank hotel. But if you want to be speaker, you put your family up at the Courtyard by Marriott. Breeds success, and you want to be around success. So speaking of, tell me, you got a little bit of a rough road to hoe this fall. Then obviously the majority that you're ahead of has expanded into all kinds of places that logically maybe you shouldn't have. So when you're extended out that far, it's hard to defend that much territory. Then you got the abortion thing on the ballot. It's going to be a tough fall. What would be success if you could only lose 5 seats? Is that success?
Well, I think we're hoping for more than that. Yeah, it's a tough cycle, but we're out there working every day. I really have a lot of confidence in our executive director, Hannah,
Yeah.
and Casey at HRCC Dallas. They're doing a great job, and we're just going to go out there. We're going to meet the voters. We're going to get our mailers out. We're going to talk about the issues. People are going to vote, and then on the day after, we'll
But you
count
do
how
have
many numbers we
headwinds.
have.
I think it's fair to say you do have some headwinds. It's a presidential year, always tougher for Republicans. Republicans just do better in an off year, but the presidential year brings out more folks, usually not helpful to the party. Then you're representing places that really, like Brad Crist's district borders the city of St. Louis. Like from Ted Drew's, you can almost throw a rock and hit his district. I mean, that is a place that, frankly, it'd be very hard for Republicans to represent. I'm not sure anybody but Brad could hold that district, if you want the truth. And then you put abortion on the ballot, which, in my opinion, always been pro-life, but I do think the law is a little more restricted than maybe where the folks are in the state. You do have some serious headwinds. I mean, I think to think you won't lose any seats, that's probably not the world of reality, right?
Well, I don't know. I think if you talk with Hannah and everybody, we're just going to do the best we can. Maybe we pick up some, maybe we don't. But I'm an optimist. We're going to go out there. We're going to run every race as hard as we can, and we'll just see what it looks like on the day after the election.
People talk about the supermajority, and that's I get it. It mattered, and when Democrats had the governor's mansion, it really mattered. Tell me about your relationship with Mike Kehoe and how important is that override? It feels like with you and I've seen the two of you interact together. The supermajority is a nice buzzword, but in reality, I doubt you're just looking to override Mike Kehoe a whole bunch.
Yeah, I hope we don't do that at all, because I think Mike Kehoe is going to do a great job for us. Yeah, I've gotten to know Lieutenant Governor Kehoe. He's just like everybody else. I think he's a good person, a great guy. I think he's going to be an exceptional leader, and really just looking forward to working with him. I think it's going to be special times in Missouri if we can kind of get out there and get Mike Kehoe and everybody back, and really look forward to just trying to get after everything with a lot of energy.
It is I really, in 2016, I kind of hated it for the state. They had a chance to have Chris Koster, Ron Richard, and Todd Richardson in those three main jobs in state government at the same time. And I thought, wow, the state could have done a lot of good for itself if with those three people in those three spots. I probably haven't been as optimistic about all three things lining up as I have for yourself, Cindy O'Laughlin, and Mike Kehoe to be in those spots in January. Tell folks about working with Senator O'Laughlin, because it feels like the House Senate leadership relationship could be stronger, and looks to me just from the peanut gallery like the two of you have a very good relationship, and it might start that.
Yeah, I met Cindy when she was first running for her first term, and she was in Lee Summit for an event. I just had an immediate liking to her, and then we've been there 6 years. We came in together. She's always been a great person to work with. I just have always personally liked her. I think she's a good leader for the Senate. I think she does a good job. She has a hard job, but she's done a good job with it. I'm going to do everything I can to work well with Senator O'Laughlin. We'll push back on the Senate when we have to, but I think we're going to be looking for ways that we can find common ground and compromise and work with the governor, and just looking forward to that. That's why I'm out there every day, meeting with voters and making sure that I get reelected, and really want to be back there and work with Cindy and everybody. So we're out there every day.
It just does feel like there's a camaraderie between the two of you that maybe hasn't been there the last few cycles. Not that there was bad blood or anything. It just felt like, to me, it looks like your relationship with Senator O'Laughlin is stronger than some past pro tems and speakers.
Yeah, I don't know how others have been, but I really like Senator O'Laughlin. I think she's just a good person. I think she could definitely be somewhere else doing something much more fun, and I do appreciate that she's here.
And sometimes she'll remind you of that.
Yeah. I don't think she needs the job, but she's there for service, and I really appreciate that about her. So I think that might be why I really like working with her.
Tell folks about the announced floor leader candidate, Alex Riley.
Well, Alex, he's a great friend of mine. I think he's just a really good legislator. He comes in and has worked hard, and he's not one that he's definitely not a show pony. He comes in and works hard.
Yeah.
Passed a big bill last session. I think he's a person that everybody can work with. I think he's going to be the next majority floor leader in the House, and I think he will do a fantastic job. Of course, when you mention Alex, you have to say brainy. He's brainy, so I think he'll do a good job with it.
He comes off like a real genuine guy. Like when you talk to him, I've always found him to be a real genuine person. You see those people at political events are kind of looking over your shoulder to see who they can talk to next or whatever. I don't know him really well, but I do know him, and I just feel like he's a very genuine person.
He is, and he's got a personal history that's fantastic, and he's just a very honest, genuine person. I don't know a person in Jeff City that doesn't like him or doesn't respect him, so I think he'll do a great job.
It is interesting. I mean, you had to run a full flow leader race, all out, traveling the whole state. He's it looks like he might get to skip that, right? I don't know if anybody even announced as of today, right?
Yeah. Well, contested leadership elections, they build character.
So you had to give him some grief about just his cakewalk he's having coming into this job.
But I think it speaks to the respect that people have for him.
Kelton may have to start some rumors about some people running. It'll help his illegal sports book he runs. So speaking of Amendment 3, it is a headwind, right? I mean, I've talked to some folks. The pro-choice movement is funded and organized. The pro-life movement, I tell you, I've seen some folks get together. I've seen a few yard signs out, but it feels like so many times the pro-life movement, the pro-life folks would rather scream at each other for not being pro-life enough than actually go convince someone that's pro-choice to be pro-life. And there is a great case to be made for being pro-life. Do you think that maybe some folks on your side of this issue, instead of making the case, they just yell at each other?
Yeah, I don't know. From what I've seen when I've talked to constituents, is that I think the IP is actually good for us because it kind of separates us from the issue. What I've been telling people is we're going to go vote. People are going to have their say, just like the Supreme Court said. We'll decide as a state, and then we need to honor that and move on, and that should be the law of the land. Is what I've been telling folks, and I think that's, at least in Lee Summit, that's what people are saying, is we're all going to get to have a say in this, and then we'll move on together.
I mean, it feels like, though, you'll have a say this fall, and then there'll be 1,000 bills filed, the poke holes in it, then they'll vote again. it kind of feels like to me now that Roe versus Wade's overturned, you're going to be doing there'll be some IP on abortion every 2 years now.
Yeah, I think people use the IP process, but whatever happens in the fall, I think we should respect that and move on from that together.
It's a tough thing. There's obviously a big debate on changing the initiative petition process. Uh, it is not one of those easy to say issues. There's a lot of nuance and complications to it. I've always kind of felt like you need a robust IP process. I think it's healthy for the state to have, but maybe it could be a little harder to amend the Constitution, and maybe it should be a little harder for the legislature to overturn a statute passed by the public. Is there room in there? I mean, when you bring abortion in, no logic or reason is possible. I don't think.
Yeah.
But on the IP process, is there some room in there not to just make draconian things that make it impossible to use, but to tweak that process and maybe make one side a little tougher, one side a little tougher to change? Is there movement in there, do you think, within the legislative confines to just tweak the process?
I think so. I think, every year that I've been in Jeff City, we voted to change the IP process. I think making it a little bit more difficult with a higher threshold, that's a reasonable thing to do. I think making it so that that legislators can't overturn the people with statutory changes, that's a reasonable thing to do. But I think all of it has to be done after the abortion issues settled this time around. We can't change that now anyway. But after that's done, I think I assume next year and the sessions to come that people want to look at tweaking the IP process. I continue to believe that it could be better, that the threshold for a constitutional change should be higher. If you look at a state like Florida and Colorado, they're 60 and 55%. Maybe we settle at 57 or something, but it should be higher than just a majority of a very small turnout on an August afternoon.
That's kind of always been my thought too. I think it's very good to have, but it does feel like it's a little too easy. Going forward to next session, what are you thinking about? What's your caucus wanting to focus on?
Well, we're starting to talk about that now, but we're really focused on just getting through the elections. I think after we get through the elections, we'll all get together and talk about the things that are important to us. But I think you're going to see the things that we always talk about: public safety, education, tax reform. Those are the things that we'll tackle. But right now, we got 60 days till the election, and we're all running hard. We're on a group text for our the Republicans that are in kind of contested races, and every day we're just trying to motivate each other and telling each other to get out there and meet the voters, and really just focused on election day.
It's an interesting dynamic to have the speaker, and who I think most folks feel is maybe the favorite to be the minority leader, Ashley Ani. Both of you are in districts where you have to run general election campaigns. I can't remember the last time both leaders were from. I mean, frankly, most of the folks in the legislature only run a primary, and then really just the first primary, and then they're in there for 8 years. It's an interesting dynamic. You actually have to go talk to general election voters. Most of your caucus and her caucus don't have to do that. That's kind of a shared, interesting thing that could be next session.
It is, and after filing day was over, and you get a general election opponent. You pout for a few days and you feel sorry for yourself, but then you get up and you start the process, and it's actually a good thing. I think when you have to run elections, it makes you a better legislator. It makes you a better public servant, and to make you go out there and talk with your neighbors about the issues that matter to them. I think it's really good, and overall, I think it'll be a benefit for anybody. I think it's a benefit for me. It's a benefit for Ashley, and it feels good to get out there and just talk with people. A lot of them have told me, "Hey, I remember you from last time or 6 years ago," or "Thanks for doing this," or "Thanks for the letter that you sent out." It's good. I think every legislator ought to have to do that. I know we don't because a lot of our seats are safe, but I'm really happy that I'm doing it. It's fun to get out and meet with people, talk about issues that matter to them, and it really gives you an idea of what's important to people. And right now, I think that's the economy, it's public safety, and education. So those are the things that we're talking about, and when we come back next January, those are the things that we'll work on.
Mr. Speaker designee, thank you so much for the time, and thank you for letting us have a good time Monday night. I think it's going to be very fun for a good cause. Also, the first donation's already in. Kerry Turgeon, the former mayor of Jeff City, dropped off a contribution
All right.
yesterday or maybe
Great.
this morning to the office. So we got the first one in. It's going to be fun. Look at our social media stuff. We'll have a QR code. Come out and join us
Yeah.
if you can't. Please help us out. A wonderful cause. I really think the folks there. I didn't know a lot about it until you selected this charity, and I've been stunned at the lives that they've impacted. That I've got to learn about just in the 4 or 5 months since you said this is the one you wanted to do.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Looking forward to seeing you. Bring your checkbook. I'm bringing mine. I can't wait to donate. I hope we have hundreds of people write checks and raise money for this charity.
Well, I mean, if you want to be a chairman, right? I mean, I think you know what to do, right? I think he's made it clear what needs to happen here.
I think a check is going to be very good for this charity.
Representative, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll see you Monday night.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
That is one of the most impressive people I've met that wanted to be in politics. Full stop. I've done this for a long time now. A good person, very intelligent, understands people, has empathy, and a fun person to be around. And those are, I know a lot of people in politics that are 2 or 3 of those 4. I don't know that I've really met anyone in politics that has all 4 of those qualities in such bountiful amounts as John Patterson. I've been impressed with him since Kelton. I think I had him on my TV show before when he was running. I think it was when he was actually maybe just saying he was going to run to fill Mike Searpoy's seat. I met him and he was on the show when we taped in Kansas City. Great guy. I mean, just an absolute great human being. And it's wonderful he's going to let us roast him Monday night. But I tell you, I think, the speaker is such a pivotal job. I think if I had to guess, he could be the greatest one since Todd Richardson. I mean, he has a lot of dynamics falling into place, and he's a real quality person. I'm a big admirer of John Patterson. He's a very impressive guy. Now, that said, we're going to make fun of him like all hell Monday night, so let's not act like we're going to hold back, right, Kelton? I mean, that's not what we do, right?
We're not going to hold back.
Yeah, I mean, there's no just because you're a good person, that will help you none Monday night. I mean, we're all in. I think you got a feel for where we're going to go with it. I think it's going to be a good time. We're going to be back here Monday, right, Kelton?
Yes, Monday.
4. Kelton, did you ever think we would get it down to 4?
It's getting a little intense.
It is. Clora Myers, Valerie Hoon, Levon Compton, and Drew Bunton. Look, I'm not saying DEI is bad. That's not for me to say. I am saying that every single Republican has repeatedly said how much they want to get rid of it. Even Mizzou, that bastion of conservatism at Columbia, even they got rid of it. But I guess it could be one of these folks. Ooh, man. I mean, just telling the governor to stick it. I wouldn't tell that to Mike Parson. You get that Polk County temper up. You bring the Wheatland out in him. Whew, just telling the governor to piss off right in his face. Just saying, I'll do what I want. You're a nobody. Man, the absolute gall of one of these 4. I tell you, where does the buck stop? I don't. Boy, man alive, you hate it. I hope it's not true, Kelton. I hope it's not true. Do you think it's true?
I'm holding out hope that it's not.
I'm gonna hold. I like your optimism, but luckily, Kelton, we're gonna get to find out. 4 days and 1 hour from now, we're gonna find out. Tomorrow, we're gonna bring you Ryan Silvey, one of my favorite people in the world. Talking with Ryan's like talking at his house down at the lake, or sitting at Grand or somewhere, or sitting in his office, except without the Star Wars crap. No, I'm not kidding, Kelton. He had Star Wars stuff in his Senate office. I mean, and the most normal, pragmatic, well-adjusted person you'd ever meet in your life, Ryan Silvey. But he sat in his office, had a bunch of like Star Wars helmets and lightsabers and shit. It was hilarious. And you would assume like he was one of those St. Charles Republicans, like a bunch of dumb shit's going to be said from the look of that office. But he sits down there and he's the opposite of anything St. Charles. One of those pragmatic, intelligent people sitting in a room full of toys. It never ceased to amaze me. He's going to be with us tomorrow. Great guy. You're going to love that. If you want unvarnished, direct opinions from a very intelligent guy, an analytical who's seen it all, he's the guy. He's a personal friend, somebody I really admire. You'll enjoy the visit. I'll try not to talk too much and let him do most of the talking. That way, intelligent things will be said. But we'll be back here Monday. We're getting close. DI detective work is wrapping up, Kelton. We're getting there. It's not easy. Look, being the state's foremost DI detective is not easy. I'm just gonna be honest with you, Missouri. It is a full day's work, and it's been a hard slog. 17. We've narrowed it down to 4. I mean, are you a little nervous, Kelton? I mean, we're right on the precipice.
I'm sweating a little bit just thinking about it.
I mean, this has been, how much work, toil have we done? And it's for you. It's for our viewers. It's for people like Flat Doug is why we do it. It's for folks like Flat Doug. So, anyhow, thank you so much. We will have a great weekend. Sunday, this week in Missouri politics, we will have the state treasurer, Vivek Malik, and then we'll be back